I'm known as Miss Linda around these parts. I'm going to say, I memorized this speech today. I read it about 30 times, and it just totally went out of my head, so forgive my piece of paper. I'm a youth art instructor, but also I have been a student here since July 2017. When I first walked through those doors, I was so nervous and intimidated, but it was suggested to me that I should take my first class with Bill Graf. Oh, God. If anybody has met Bill or taken any of his classes, you know what a great storyteller he is. And some of our favorite stories that he does tell is his adventures as being a student at the Art Student League, being taught by Jack Faragasso. I first heard of Jack from Bill, of course. And I also made friends with Jack and his niece Denise over Facebook. Oh, so I reached out to Denise and I said, wouldn't it be wonderful if we could get an exhibit here? So I was so surprised when she wrote me back and said, absolutely. So, Bill, for all the things that you've done, teaching me and making me the best artist that I could be, this is for you and everyone else here, so I hope you enjoy the show. So, I'd like to introduce Bill Graf, our storyteller, longtime pupil and teacher's assistant to Jack Faragasso, my instructor and my friend.
Okay, well, thank you guys for coming tonight. Yes, I'm an instructor here. I have classes. I teach watercolor, painting, still life painting, portrait painting, and I just want to say thank you guys for, like, Linda was actually the one who reached out to Jack's niece to put this together, and again I want to thank everybody for actually hanging the show. Miss Carol, Donna, Gabby, everybody here. If I'm missing any names, I apologize, but you guys did a great job. These paintings are quite old. A lot of them, I can pick out a few that he painted when he was an art student, and some of them are in the back there, the painting of the nude in the corner there, and then the draped nude. I was just telling the story to a few people. Back in the 60s, early 60s, they used to do, the Art Students League had an annex in Woodstock, and the students, Jack was probably no more than 23 when he painted those pictures, and he would bring some of them in to show us, and I was just amazed at the technical ability. But let me just rewind a little bit. So how I found out about Jack Faragasso was, I did 2 years at SUNY Farmingdale for commercial art, and I had an instructor named Al Barker, and he says, well, if you really want to get involved in illustration and learning to paint realistically, there's a guy in New York, and I was like, there's no way, because I'm, dyed-in-the-wool Long Islander. I was like, I'm not going into the city unless I had to. I was working out here as an artist, commercial artist. And then I finally said, you know what, I gotta go. I gotta check this guy out. So I went to sign up for his class to do drawings, or just I wanted to learn to paint, and I came with all my paints and everything, and I see this man who's about this tall. I was I was about 24, 23, and he looked like a scientist, right? He had glasses, a little guy. He carried himself like a professor. But when he started to draw, it amazed me. Like, he has this Riley system of painting, which is what you see here. Frank Riley developed this system of painting where back in the WPA in the 30s, his responsibility was getting people artists that were unemployed to all work together on federal projects. So Riley's responsibility was to teach them and make sure that all the art that or all the paintings, and if they were doing, most of them were federal murals, and they had to restore them. So everyone had to be on the same page as far as the flesh tone is concerned. So he did this out of necessity, and what happened was it became such a successful palette that illustrators picked it up, portrait painters picked it up, fine artists picked it up, and it's actually very popular even to this day. And Riley also had a specific drawing style that to construct the nude figure portraits that's still being used today in arts in California. A lot of the animators use that system to this day. And Jack was like the last person in New York that was teaching this. He actually took over from Frank Riley when he died. I think it was in the 60s. And Jack's classes were very big. I mean, we could just dream of having classes of 30 people in a room painting a model. But Jack was always a nice guy. He went above and beyond. He would tell me what shows to go see. So he was really a big mentor in my life. And a lot of the people here and my students are saying, wow, I can see where you learned certain things. And I'm just glad that I was able to pick up the torch and now teach the same techniques that I've learned. And I was telling some of the students too that back then there was like this respect for your instructor. Things have changed over the years where when Jack walked by, when he came to give you his critiques, he never would ask for the brush. And I remember the teachers, they called them monitors, which were TAs, teacher assistants, and they would say, Bill, when Jack comes to you, just give him your brush, okay? And I was like, oh, I guess, right? So that was a sign of respect, because an instructor should never have to ask to do a correction on your painting. That's the way he was taught. That's the way, the whole lineage that goes back to Frank Dumond and the French Academy. We're also having, Jack actually included me in a retrospective show at the Art Students in their gallery, where there's artwork from, that goes back to French Academy art, to American Impressionist, to Frank Riley, and to Jack Faragasso, and they were nice enough to let me put a painting in the show too, so I feel really proud that I was a part of that lineage. And I'd just like to thank everybody for coming here tonight. Just enjoy the artwork. I think it is all beautiful. It inspired me. His illustrations inspired me to become an illustrator. Things have changed. Now a lot of stuff is digital, so we're not painting our illustrations anymore. But a lot of that stuff, Jack was actually, and he's still around. I wish he was here tonight, because that is all like nostalgia. That's what you guys heard of Pulp Fiction. Well, he was in the heart of it back in the 50s, 60s, up into the 70s. I think he stopped painting and devoted his time to fine art. But again, I'd like to thank you guys for coming, and just enjoy the show. Thank you.